Welcome back, everyone. It's me again, Graham. I go by Retro Impulses on the internet, and I got another tale for you today. This one is one of the most important stories from my childhood. It's called The Tale of the Biker Bash Breakthrough. It was the summer of 1994. I was 13 years old, a sweaty, awkward, little metalhead with anxiety and a bad haircut and the desperate need to be cool. Now, this wasn't just any summer. This was the summer of Woodstock 94. While most kids my age were at home watching Nickelodeon and collecting baseball cards, I had front row access to a full-blown, adult-rated rock festival from the comfort of my very own backyard. Well, technically, my older sister's backyard. My oldest sister, who was already living that full-blown, biker chick, stoner rocker lifestyle, decided she was going to throw a weekend-long rager for the pay-per-view broadcast of Woodstock 94. She invited all her people, a mix of long-haired metal dudes, scary-looking women with questionable tattoos, and the kind of people who thought personal hygiene was optional if you owned enough Judas Priest t-shirts. There were about 30 or 40 people cycling in and out of the house all weekend. The air was thick with the smell of weed and booze. Every corner of the property either had someone passed out or someone making out. There were so many leather vests and jean shorts, you'd think we were throwing a barbecue at a Skynyrd concert. Now, up until that point, I thought weed made you a violent person, because everyone I knew who smoked it, cousins, neighbor kids, half the dudes in the trailer park, they all had two things in common. They were always high, and they were always throwing fists. But what I didn't realize until that weekend was weed was actually the only reason those guys weren't burning down gas stations on a daily basis. So there I was, 13 years old, in the middle of a wild, chaotic party. A grown woman was screaming at a man for passing out in her Pinto. Someone tried to cook a hot dog over a citronella candle. My sister's backyard looked like a scene from a Mad Max tailgate. And then Cypress Hill came on. Everyone at the party was still loud, still rowdy, but the crowd on TV, that was something else. I stood in the living room with my eyes locked on the TV screen. The people at Woodstock were floating, chill, laughing, hugging, naked women dancing in the mud, long-haired dudes swaying back and forth in a cloud of smoke, passing joints around like communion wafers. This was the opposite of violence. This was love. That was my epiphany. Weed doesn't make people violent. Weed makes people magical. It was like seeing the other side. They weren't angry stoners. They were happy, peaceful, and probably sticky, but full of joy. It blew my teenage mind. So naturally, I had to try it. Problem was, I couldn't exactly ask anyone. I was 13 and had the social status of a gas station hot dog. So I did what any desperate kid would do. I hunted the ashtrays. I found it in an old ashtray next to the busted recliner behind my sister's detached garage. A half-smoked joint, still intact. It felt like I discovered the holy grail of dirtbag enlightenment. I checked over both shoulders like I was planning a bank heist and crept behind the garage, lit it up, and I took a hit. Coughed so loud, I nearly blacked out. I think I might have swallowed a mosquito. Then I took another, and another. 4 or 5 hits total. For the first few minutes, I thought I was gonna die. My brain said, "Congratulations, you idiot. You poisoned yourself." I was sweating, panicking, convinced that the half joint that I found was laced with PCP, and I'd be the first 13-year-old to overdose in a yard full of adults who would just laugh and step over me. But then, it happened. It was like someone turned down the volume on every bad thought that was in my head. The nerves, the self-doubt, the fear that I would never stop being a sweaty loser. They all just melted. Suddenly, I went from anxious little kid to a chill stoner prince, vibing in a weed-stained backyard kingdom. The music sounded better. The air, it felt lighter. Even the biker with the snake around his neck and the nipple ring seemed kinda cool. That weekend, I smoked 3 or 4 times. By the time Candlebox came on, I was basically a philosopher. I watched the sunset while eating a slice of Kraft Singles and a couple Triscuit crackers. I told a girl she had mystical energy because her eyes reminded me of a cat. She just told me to get the hell away from her. From that weekend on, I was a weed guy. Quietly, of course. I didn't tell my friends for months. None of them smoked yet. I was living a double life. Middle school kid by day, secret backyard stoner kid by night. Looking back, it wasn't just about getting high. It was about finally relaxing. It was the first time in my life I didn't feel like the world was about to crush me. And all it took was an ashtray, a half a joint, and the magical powers of Cypress Hill. The end. Thank you guys for coming out. That was a story that I'm never gonna forget. No one ever forgets that moment if you've ever had a moment like that. But thank you guys for coming out. Please give this a like, a comment, and a subscribe. I would truly, truly appreciate it. I'll be back again next week. Thank you all for coming out, and I will see you all next time.